O-Level Chemistry, Paper Code 5070, Paper 2, Variant 2, May-June 2020. Today we will solve Section A of the paper. Section B we will solve in the next session. Question number 1. Choose from the following chlorides to answer the questions. Here we have some chlorides. Each chloride may be used once, more than once, or not at all. Which chloride? Part A contains a cation with a 2+ charge. Cation means positively charged ion. Now we check the chlorides that is given here. Here in aluminum chloride, aluminum is cation, and for aluminum the charge or oxidation state or the valency is +3. So here it is not +2, it is +3. In ammonium chloride, oxidation state of ammonium is +1. For calcium chloride, oxidation state or valency or combining capacity of calcium is +2. So here +2 charge for the cation is in calcium chloride. So here correct option calcium chloride. B part reacts with warm aqueous sodium hydroxide to form a gas which turns damp red litmus paper to blue. Turns damp litmus paper from red to blue means the gas form is an alkaline in nature. When we will react sodium hydroxide with ammonium chloride, we get ammonia gas and water. So here sodium hydroxide we have to react with ammonium chloride. So what will be the answer here? Here we have to use ammonium chloride. Part C is insoluble in water. Here we have aluminum chloride, ammonium chloride, calcium chloride, hydrogen chloride, iron chloride, silver chloride and sodium chloride. Out of the list, only silver chloride is insoluble in water. Other than silver chloride, the chlorides that are insoluble in water are mercurous chloride and lead chloride. But here mercurous chloride and lead chloride is not given, only silver chloride is given. So here correct answer is silver chloride. So insoluble in water is silver chloride. D has a molecule which has only 18 protons. It is given here has a molecule. Molecule means here we have a covalent compound, not the ionic compound. If we check the list, in all the chlorides, only hydrogen chloride is covalent compound, whereas all the other chlorides are ionic compound. So the only molecule in the list given is hydrogen chloride. Now we check the number of protons in hydrogen chloride. In hydrogen, we have proton number 1, means in hydrogen we have 1 proton. And for chlorine, the proton number is 17. So in chlorine, we will have 17 protons. So total number of protons in hydrogen chloride, it will be 1 plus 17, it will be 18. So 18 proton is in hydrogen chloride. Part E is a colored solid at room temperature and pressure. Transition metals form colored compounds. Now we check the list. In the list, only in iron chloride, the metal iron is from transition metal, whereas in all the other cases, the cations or the positively charged ions are not from transition metal. So the only chloride that will be colored will be iron chloride. So colored compound will be iron chloride. Okay, now question number 1 is completed. Question number 2. Hydrogen reacts with oxygen as shown in the equation. A sample containing 1 mole of hydrogen is completely combusted. This sample releases 286 kJ of heat energy. Calculate the heat energy released when 25 gram of hydrogen is completely combusted. Here it is given 1 mole of hydrogen gives us 286 kilojoule of heat energy. Now in 1 mole of hydrogen gas, what is the mass? It will be 2 gram. So here we can say 2 gram hydrogen or 1 mole of hydrogen releases 286 kilojoules of energy. Now here we have to find out the amount of energy that is released from 25 gram of hydrogen. From 2 gram of hydrogen, the amount of energy released is 286 kilojoule. So from 25 gram of hydrogen, the energy release will be 286 multiplied by 25 divided by 2. It will be 3575 kilojoules. So the amount of energy released from 25 gram of hydrogen will be 3575 kilojoules. Part B. Use ideas about bond breaking and bond forming to explain why this reaction is exothermic. Exothermic means the reaction in which energy is released to the surrounding. Now second thing, bond breaking is an endothermic reaction because in bond breaking energy is absorbed, whereas bond forming is an exothermic reaction means during bond forming energy is released, and if bond forming energy is more than bond breaking energy, then it is called exothermic reaction. Since here it is given it is exothermic reaction, so exothermic reaction means the energy released is more, or we can say bond forming energy is more as compared to bond breaking energy. So what we have to write here, during bond breaking energy is absorbed means endothermic, and during bond forming energy is released means exothermic, and in exothermic reaction energy is released to surrounding means the bond forming energy is more than the bond breaking energy. Part C. The reaction shown also represents the overall process that occurs within a hydrogen-oxygen fuel cell. Describe one advantage of using a hydrogen-oxygen fuel cell to power a motor vehicle rather than burning gasoline. If we burn gasoline, we will get carbon dioxide gas, and carbon dioxide gas is a greenhouse gas. Whereas in hydrogen-oxygen fuel, we will get only water along with energy. So here what we have to write, in hydrogen-oxygen fuel cell, hydrogen and oxygen react to form water and energy is released. There is no carbon dioxide as we get during burning of gasoline. Next part, complete the equation for the two electrode reactions that happens in a hydrogen-oxygen fuel cell. At anode, hydrogen gas will lose 2 electrons and it will be converted to hydrogen ion, whereas at cathode, oxygen and hydrogen ion will accept 4 electrons and it will be converted to water molecule. Now question number 2 is completed. We will move to next question. Question number 3. The table shows some properties of 5 esters. In the first column, name of the esters are given. Here the structure, then relative molecular mass, here melting point and here boiling point of these esters are given. Part A. These esters are part of a homologous series. State the relative molecular mass of methyl pentanoate. Here we have to find out the molecular mass of methyl pentanoate. We have to find out the molecular mass of this compound. Here the structure is given. So to calculate the relative molecular mass of methyl pentanoate, just we have to add the mass of all the atoms present in this structure. Now total molecular mass, it will be 116. So relative molecular mass of methyl pentanoate is 116. We can also calculate the molecular mass from the table that is given here. Here the molecular mass of methanoate is given 60. Then for the next member, for ethanoate, it is 74. What is the difference in the molecular mass? It is 74 minus 60, it is 14. Now again, for the next member from ethanoate to propanoate, Again the difference is 14. Now from propanoate to butanoate, the difference is again 14. So definitely for the next member, for methyl pentanoate, the difference in the molecular mass will also be 14. So here if we have to find out the molecular mass of methyl pentanoate, just we have to add 14 in molecular mass of methyl butanoate. Means we have to add 14 in 102. When we will add 14 in 102, we will get 116. So molecular mass will be 116. Next part, predict the boiling point of methyl propanoate. Here the boiling point of methanoate is given 32, then for ethanoate it is 57, then 80, then 102. If we find out the difference in between the boiling point of methanoate and ethanoate, it is 25. Then from ethanoate to propanoate it is 23. Then from propanoate to butanoate it is 22. So here we can predict, we can simply say that the difference in the boiling point in between methyl butanoate and methyl propanoate will be approximately 20. So here the boiling point of methyl pentanoate will be 102 plus 20, it will be around 122. So here we can predict that the boiling point of methyl pentanoate will be approximately in between 120 to 122. We can say around it will be 121. Here we can write 120, here we can write 121, here we can write 122. It will be correct. So here the predicted boiling point of methyl pentanoate is 121 degrees centigrade. Part 3. Explain why it is not possible to predict the melting point of methyl pentanoate. Here the melting point of methanoate is given -100. For ethanoate it is given -98. So the difference in the melting point of these two compounds is 2 degrees centigrade. Then here from ethanoate to propanoate the difference is 10 degrees centigrade. Then from propanoate to butanoate, here the difference is approximately -13. Here it is positive, here it is positive, here it is negative. So here in melting point, we don't have any specific trend. Here in first two cases, it is increasing, then in the third case, it is decreasing. So we cannot predict the melting point of methyl pentanoate from this table. So here what we have to write? Melting point decreases, then increases, means there is not a clear trend for melting point. Part B. At 35 degrees centigrade, methyl methanoate is a gas. Explain how the data in the table shows this. Methyl methanoate. Boiling point of methyl methanoate is given 32. So definitely at 35 degrees centigrade, this methyl methanoate will be in gaseous state. So what we have to write here? 35 degrees centigrade is more than the boiling point of methyl methanoate. So at this temperature, it will be in gaseous state. Part C. Methyl pentanoate is used to flavor food. Suggest one other use of ester. Esters are also used in perfumes. So we can write here used in perfumes. Part D. Methyl propanoate is prepared by the reaction between propanoic acid and methanol. The forward reaction is exothermic. Calculate the maximum mass of methyl propanoate that can be made from 11 grams of propanoic acid and excess methanol. Give the answer to three significant figures. Here from the balance equation it is clear that from 1 mole of propanoic acid we get 1 mole of methyl propanoate. Now first we calculate the total mass of this propanoic acid and this methyl propanoate. Molecular mass of propanoic acid we have calculated here, it is 74 gram, whereas molecular mass of methyl propanoate is 88 gram. So here we can say from 1 mole of propanoic acid we get 1 mole of methyl propanate, or in other words we can say from 74 gram of propanoic acid we get 88 gram of methyl propanoate. So here what we can write? We can write 1 mole of propanoic acid gives 1 mole, or we can say 88 gram of methyl propanoate. Here it is asked from 11 gram of propanoic acid how much mass of this ester methyl propanate we will get. We will get 11 multiplied by 88 divided by 74, we will get 13.1 gram. So from 11 gram of propanoic acid we will get 13.1 gram of methyl propanoate. Second part, the temperature of the reaction mixture is increased. State and explain in terms of particle what happens to the rate of forward reaction. We know that with the increase in temperature, kinetic energy increases, and with the increase in kinetic energy, the speed or velocity of the molecule will be increased, and molecule will collide with each other more frequently, and when they will collide with each other more frequently, the effective collision will be increased, and because of the increase in effective collision, the rate of reaction will be increased. So what we have to write here? Kinetic energy is directly proportional to temperature. With rise in temperature, kinetic energy of the molecule increases, and with increase in kinetic energy, molecules move faster and effective collision in between the molecules increases, so the rate of reaction increase. Part 3. The temperature of the reaction mixture is increased. State and explain what happens to the position of equilibrium. Here the reaction is exothermic. It is given here the forward reaction is exothermic, and this reaction is reversible. When the reaction is reversible and the reaction is exothermic, and here it is shown the equilibrium is established. When the equilibrium is established and if we increase the temperature, what will happen with the increase in temperature? With the increase in temperature at equilibrium state, equilibrium will be disturbed and the reaction will proceed in a direction so that it can oppose the change, so that it can get the equilibrium again. So to get the equilibrium again, what will happen? This methyl propanoate will react with water and more propanoic acid, and this methanol will be formed. So reaction will proceed in the backward direction. So with the increase in temperature, what will happen? The reaction will proceed in the backward direction. Now what we have to write here? Forward reaction is exothermic, and with increase in temperature, the equilibrium will be disturbed and the system will oppose the change and try to get equilibrium again, and to do so, it will try to decrease the temperature. Decrease the temperature means it will proceed in the backward direction. Okay, this question is completed. Move to next question. Question number 4. Part of the reactivity series is shown. Predict the names of the product formed when chromium reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid. Here we have some metals and the reactivity of these metals is given here. When we move from top to the bottom, the reactivity of these metals decreases. Now when we react chromium with hydrochloric acid, chromium is more reactive than hydrogen. So chromium will replace hydrogen from hydrochloric acid and chromium chloride will be formed. Along with chromium chloride, hydrogen gas will be evolved. So here the product formed will be chromium chloride and hydrogen gas. Part B. Powdered zinc is added to aqueous chromium ions. Construct an ionic equation with a state symbol for this reaction. When we react chromium ion with zinc, zinc reduces chromium to chromium metal and itself zinc it is oxidized. So here as a product we will get zinc ion, it is oxidized and we will get chromium metal. It is reduced. Before the reaction, this chromium ion was in ionic state and in aqueous solution, whereas zinc was as solid. After the reaction, we will get zinc ion that is soluble in water, whereas for chromium, we will get this as a metal in a solid form. So here for chromium ion, we have to write aqueous. For zinc, it is solid. For zinc ion, it is in aqueous solution. It is in ionic state, and this chromium, it is in solid form. Part C. Explain why aluminum does not react with water. Aluminum is highly reactive metal. It reacts with oxygen in presence of water and aluminum oxide is formed. This aluminum oxide layer, it is deposited on the surface of aluminum and it prevents aluminum to react further with oxygen or with water. So what we have to write here, aluminum reacts with oxygen and a protective layer of aluminum oxide is formed, and this protective layer prevents aluminum for further reaction with water. Part D. Hydrogen peroxide, an oxidizing agent, is added to aqueous potassium iodide in a test tube. Describe the color change seen in the test tube. In the test tube, we have potassium iodide. This potassium iodide is colorless. When we add hydrogen peroxide in the test tube, which contains potassium iodide, this potassium iodide reacts with hydrogen peroxide. We will get aqueous iodine, and the color of aqueous iodine is brown. So we will get a brown color solution. So what will be the color? What will be the change in color? Color change will be colorless to brown solution. Part E. Chromium is extracted by the reaction of aluminum with chromium oxide Cr2O3. Number 1. Write the equation for this reaction. When we react aluminum with chromium oxide, aluminum is more reactive than chromium, so aluminum will replace chromium from chromium oxide and aluminum oxide will be formed. So the equation in the balance form 2Al plus Cr2O3, we will get Al2O3 and 2 chromium atom. Part 2. Suggest a compound that can reduce chromium oxide to chromium metal. In the extraction of iron, we have studied that ferric oxide reacts with carbon monoxide and it reduces ferric oxide to iron and carbon dioxide gas is evolved. Same reaction takes place when chromium oxide reacts with carbon monoxide. Chromium oxide reacts with carbon monoxide and as a result we get chromium and carbon dioxide. So the name of the compound that can reduce chromium oxide to chromium metal is carbon monoxide. Part F. State one advantage of recycling metals. One of the advantage of recycling metals is to save the natural resources. Okay, now it is the end of the question. Next question. Question number 5. Sulfuric acid H2SO4 reacts with sodium hydroxide NaOH as shown. Here the equation is given. 1 mole of sulfuric acid reacts with 2 mole of sodium hydroxide and we get 1 mole of sodium sulfate and 2 moles of water. A sample of 25 centimeter cube of 0.05500 mole per decimeter cube sulfuric acid is placed in a beaker. Sodium hydroxide is added slowly from a burette to the sulfuric acid in the beaker. Means here this reaction is titration. A pH probe is used to measure the pH of the solution in the beaker until a total of 40 centimeter cube of sodium hydroxide is added. The graph shows the pH of the solution in the beaker changes. Here the pH value changes from approximately 1 to it is approximately 13. Explain in terms of ion present why the pH of the solution in the beaker changes from 1 to 13. In the start of the reaction in the beaker, we have sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is an acid and pH value of acid is less than 7. So pH value of the solution that is present in the beaker has a pH value of 1. Now when we start adding sodium hydroxide in the beaker, this sodium hydroxide start to neutralize the acid, and when all of the acid is neutralized, at that stage the pH value of the solution will be 7. Now at this stage we do not stop to add sodium hydroxide, we continue adding sodium hydroxide in the beaker. When we continue to add sodium hydroxide in the beaker, now in the beaker we have an alkaline solution, and the value of pH for an alkaline solution or an alkali is more than 7. Means here the pH value increases from 7 to 13. All the acid is neutralized. Now with the further addition of sodium hydroxide, this solution becomes alkaline and its pH value increases from 7 to 13. So what we have to write here? Initially in the beaker, there is an acid, sulfuric acid. pH value of an acid is less than 7, so the pH is 1. Now by adding sodium hydroxide in the beaker, first it will neutralize the acid and pH will become 7, and with further increase of sodium hydroxide in the beaker, amount of hydroxide ion increases, then amount of hydrogen ion, means the solution becomes alkaline and pH increases to 13. Part B. Use the graph to state the volume of sodium hydroxide that just neutralizes all the sulfuric acid. Here in the graph, on the x-axis volume of sodium hydroxide is given, on y-axis pH value is given. Now pH value of neutral solution is 7. It is 6, it is 8, in between 6 and 8 we have 7. So when the value of pH is 7, at pH value 7, what is amount of sodium hydroxide that is added to the solution? The amount of sodium hydroxide or the volume of sodium hydroxide is 20 centimeter cube. So from the graph we can conclude that the volume of sodium hydroxide added to neutralize sulfuric acid is 20 centimeter cube. So volume of sodium hydroxide is 20 centimeter cube. Part C. Use your answer to B to calculate the concentration in mole per decimeter cube of sodium hydroxide. Concentration is given as number of moles over volume in decimeter cube. Now here to calculate the concentration of sodium hydroxide, we should have number of moles of sodium hydroxide and volume of sodium hydroxide. Volume of sodium hydroxide is given, but number of moles of sodium hydroxide is not given. So first we have to calculate, we have to find out the number of moles of sodium hydroxide. In order to find the number of moles of sodium hydroxide, first we have to find the number of moles of sulfuric acid, and with the help of number of moles of sulfuric acid, we will find out the number of moles of sodium hydroxide. Now concentration is given as number of moles over volume. So number of moles will be equal to concentration into volume. Now concentration of sulfuric acid and volume of sulfuric acid is given. It is given here that concentration of sulfuric acid is 0.05, whereas volume is 25 centimeter cube. Concentration is 0.05 and volume is 25 centimeter cube. But here we have to consider volume in decimeter cube, so we have to convert centimeter cube to decimeter cube. So 25 centimeter cube will be equal to 0.025 decimeter cube. And by solving this one, we will get number of moles of sulfuric acid 0.00125. Now from the balance equation, it is clear that 1 mole of sulfuric acid reacts with 2 moles of sodium hydroxide. So number of moles of sodium hydroxide is 2 times of number of moles of sulfuric acid. Now here number of moles of sulfuric acid is 0.00125. So number of moles of sodium hydroxide will be 0.00125 multiplied by 2. It will be 0.0025 moles. Now we have number of moles of sodium hydroxide and also we have volume of sodium hydroxide that is used to neutralize the sulfuric acid. Number of moles 0.0025, volume, it is calculated that volume of sodium hydroxide is 20 centimeter cube. Here we have to consider volume in decimeter cube. So to convert this volume from centimeter cube to decimeter cube, we have to multiply this 20 by 0.001. And by solving this one, we will get the answer 0.125 mole per decimeter cube. So concentration of sodium hydroxide is 0.125 mole per decimeter cube. Okay, next question. Question number 6. The structures of two alcohols are shown. Here an ethanol is given and here alcohol B is given. What is the name of alcohol B? In this alcohol, how many carbon atom? 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the name of this alcohol will be butanol. It is butanol. Part B. Draw the structure of one other alcohol which is an isomer of B. Isomer means same molecular formula but different structure formula. Here in this alcohol B, we have total 4 carbon atoms. So the isomer of this alcohol should also have 4 carbon atoms. In this isomer of alcohol, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon atoms. And the name of this isomer of alcohol B is methyl propanol. Here this methyl radical is attached as a branch and here in the straight chain we have 3 carbon atoms. So the name will be methyl propanol. Part C. Ethanoic acid is produced by the oxidation of ethanol. State the reagent for this reaction. Ethanoic acid is produced by oxidation of ethanol in presence of potassium permanganate. So the reagent for oxidation of ethanol is potassium permanganate. Part D. Ethanol is a simple molecular compound. Explain why liquid ethanol does not conduct electricity. Electricity means flow of electrical charges, and in simple molecular compound or in covalent compound there is no electrical charges, so there will be no conduction of electricity. So in ethanol electricity is not conducted because of absence of negative and positive charges. Part E. Ethanol can be dehydrated to form ethene. Describe using a dot and cross diagram the bonding in a molecule of ethene. Only include the outer shell electrons. Formula of ethene is C2H4. Here we have 2 carbon and 4 hydrogen. In the last orbital of each carbon atom there is 4 electrons and in hydrogen we have only 1 electron. In ethene, in between these 2 carbon atoms there is carbon-carbon double bond. Now here in this cross and dot diagram, the cross represents electrons of carbon. Each carbon has 4 electrons. So here for this carbon atom we have 1, 2, 3, 4 electrons and same thing for this carbon atom. Now these 2 electrons of each carbon atom, they react together and form a bond here. In the same manner, these 2 electrons in between these 2 carbon atoms reacted together to form a bond. In this way, a double bond is formed in between these 2 carbon atoms. Now electron of each hydrogen atom, it reacts with 1 electron of carbon to form a carbon-hydrogen bond. So here in between carbon and hydrogen, total 4 carbon hydrogen and in between carbon-carbon there is 1 double bond is formed. So it is the structure of ethene in dot and cross diagram. Okay, now it is the end of the question. Today we have completed section A. Section B we will solve in the next session. Thank you very much.